Hello children, I hope you have understood the concept of interference in the second video. Now I will be starting the third video and we will be basically discussing how we are arriving at different conditions for constructive and destructive interference. We will be seeing analytically by mathematical approach, and then we will be discussing the big part of it, which is Young's double slit experiment. Okay. So right now we will be discussing analytical treatment of interference. Analytical treatment of interference. We are going to see how exactly this interference takes place and what are the conditions for maximum and minimum. Clear? We will discuss two waves here which undergo interference, and of course they are coming from the coherent sources. I will assume let the two waves are y equals to a1 sin omega t y1 and y2 is equal to a2 sin omega t plus phi. Obviously you can see there is a fixed phase difference between these two waves, and that is equal to how much? 5. Now we are going to find out when they will be superimposing on each other what will be the value of the combined amplitude, because you know that the concept of combined amplitude, the net amplitude is central to the consideration of maximum and minimum in interference. A maximum or constructive interference will take place when waves are supporting each other, they are meeting the same phase, and you have done the conditions we will be discussing, where path difference is equal to n lambda and phase difference is equal to 2 n pi. How we are arriving at this condition? Similarly, for destructive interference, path difference is 2 n minus 1 into lambda by 2 and phase difference is 2 n minus 1 into pi. So, how we are arriving at these conditions we will be discussing. These two waves are superimposing on each other. As they will be superposing on each other, what will be the combined amplitude? We can use trigonometry or we can simply use the vector addition. In fact, when I will be taking a class specially dedicated to JEE, I will be telling you how we can resolve many equations and get the combined amplitude. Here we have only a simple situation where y1 is a1 sin omega t and y2 is a2 sin omega t plus phi. Clearly you can see that amplitudes are a1 and a2, and phase of y2 is greater than phase of y1. It is very easy to find out the combined amplitude. We can use vector addition. The smaller amplitude a1, let us take as base, and then we draw a2 which is having greater phase difference, that is which having greater phase, and the phase difference how much? Phi, right. If I use parallelogram law of addition, then this will be the net amplitude E at an angle theta with A1. So, we will first draw A1 which is having smaller phase, and then we will be drawing E2 which is having greater phase, and you know by vector addition that net amplitude is A will be equal to root over A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 1 A2 A1 A2 cos phi. Now, this is very easy. Instead of using the trigonometric reduction, we can simply use this formula. So, A is the net amplitude, right. If you square both sides, then A square is equal to, children, A1 square plus A2 square plus twice A1 A2 cos phi. Now, the net amplitude is actually going to depend upon the value of 2 A1 A2 cos phi, and this term is called interference term and is very important for calculating the net amplitude, because you know the net amplitude is going to depend upon the value of phi. Clear? So, if you work on this, let us say that intensity of the first wave is I1 and intensity of the second wave is I2. So, we will say let intensities of the two waves are I1 and I2. You know the relation that we discussed, I1 is equal to K into A1 square and I2 is equal to K into A2 square, and net intensity I will be K into A square. If I replace the values of A1, A2 and A, then I will be getting I by K is equal to I1 by K plus I2 by K plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi. If we cancel out K from both sides, then net intensity becomes I equals to I1 plus I2 plus 2 root over I1 I2 cos phi. Clear? So clearly, whether I go to this equation 1 or whether I look at equation 2, from these two equations, from both of these, I conclude that the net intensity or the net amplitude is depending upon the value of phi. So we will say for constructive interference, children, obviously for constructive interference, the value of cos phi should be maximum. I know the value of cos theta is how much here? 1, the maximum value. So we will say for constructive interference cos phi should be 1. I know that cos of even multiples of 180 gives us 1. Cos 0 is 1, cos 360 is 1, right? Cos 270 is 1. So I can write this as cos 2n pi, right? Or n into 2 pi. Clear? So if I remove cos on both sides, then phi becomes how much here? 2n pi. And this is the condition for phase difference to achieve constructive interference. Now what will be the value of path difference? But children, we know that phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into x, where x is what? Path difference. If I use this value, children, then I get 2 pi by lambda into x is equal to 2n pi. Cancel out pi from both sides, 2 pi from both sides, then x becomes how much here? N lambda. And in this case, you can start with n is equal to 0, 1, 2. You can take all the values of n starting from 0. So this is the condition for constructive interference or formation of a bright fringe or a maximum that we discussed in the second video. The conditions were simply stated but not proved. This you can take it like a proof also, it may come in the exam, right? Now I will be seeing case 2 for destructive interference. So for constructive interference, children, constructive interference means what? A bright spot. For constructive interference should be A should be maximum, and for destructive interference A should be minimum. Here A should be minimum. So A will be minimum, children, when cos phi value will be minimum, because the value of I or A will be minimum when cos phi is minimum. And how much the minimum value of cos theta? That is -1. So we say for destructive interference, here evaluate the condition, cos phi should be minimum and the minimum value is how much? -1. And know that cos of odd multiples of 180 is how much? -1. Cos 180 is -1. Cos how much? 540 is -1, right? Or all multiples of cos theta will be how much? -1. So cos phi is -1. I can write cos of 2n minus 1 into pi, right? So if I remove cos on both sides, then phi will be how much? 2n minus 1 into pi. Remember, children, if you are not for mathematics, pi is equal to how much here? Pi is equal to 180 degrees. Clear? Pi is equal to 180 degrees. So here you got the value of phase difference for minima, but we know that phi is equal to 2n minus 2 pi by lambda into x, where x is denoting what? Path difference. If I put this value out here, so what do we get? 2 pi by lambda into x is equal to 2n minus 1 into pi. If you cancel out pi from both sides, x becomes 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. So children, in this case you will start with n is equal to 1. I have deliberately not taken 2n plus 1 because again we will not have a 0 order for minima, we will have first order where maxima will come, the central maximum, then 1, 2, 3 will come. So you better start putting n is equal to 1, 2, 3 for minima or for the destructive interference. So children, explicitly we derive in this discussion the conditions for the formation of maximum and minimum. Okay. Now once you understood this, then we will be discussing what exactly will be the conditions of formation of interference fringes, and then we will come to what is Young's double slit experiment. Okay. Conditions for interference. What will be conditions for interference? Actually, we have already discussed all the points. It's just about writing. The conditions are the light should be monochromatic, means of a single color. Monochromatic means single color. Light should come from coherent sources. You understand what is a coherent source? We have already discussed and defined it. The third condition is slits should be narrow. For obtaining sharp fringes on the screen, slits should be narrow. Clear? And then the distance between the slits should be what? Small. If you don't have small distance between slits and the distance is large, then what will happen? Actually the fringes will be blurred. Understand? So these are some of the conditions, we will be writing them. Okay, and light should be travelling also in the same direction, keep in mind. Okay, so let's start writing. First, light should be small. So children, these are some of the important conditions that we are doing. Light should be travelling in the same direction. Slit should be narrow. Sources of light should be coherent, very important. Light should be monochromatic, of the same color, and distance between the slits should be small. Clear? These are some of the conditions which will be required for having interference, sustained interference, okay, from coherent sources. Now I am using this word slits. Slit is also called orifice. Orifice. Now what is a slit? Slit is basically an opaque screen which is placed in front of the source of light with small tiny holes in it. So these holes are called slits. Small openings. You put a coherent screen and make what? Small holes in it. Each hole is called what? A slit. So these are some of the conditions that we have for interference. Now some important for numerical formula for numericals which should be borne in mind by you. Remember we did that net amplitude, net, I will better rub it and write once again. Now these formulas will be important by during numericals. So we will see these formulas. We are going to see some important formulas out of what we derived the analytical approach to interference, and these formulas will be important for you. These formulas will be in terms of amplitude, also in terms of intensity of light. Okay. So we will make certain assumptions first. Let amplitudes, net amplitude is equal to A and net intensity is equal to I. So these are some of the assumptions that we are making, that amplitude the two waves are A1 and A2, their intensities are I1 and I2 respectively, phase difference is phi, net amplitude is A and net intensity is I. Now these formulas you must remember, actually we already discussed. Then A square will be A1 square plus A2 square plus 2 A1 A2 cos phi. First formula, let us see phi A directly. First formula, right? The second formula for intensity, children, is I is equal to root over I1 plus I2 plus 2 root I1 I2 cos phi. Clear? This is I. Now maximum I max will be root over I1 plus I2 whole square. This is the third formula, I maximum. And similarly the minimum intensity I minimum will be This is under the root, this formula, make sure you understand this. Root under the root, cos phi is outside this root, but under this bigger root, okay. I minimum will be root over I1 minus root over I2 whole square. This is the next formula. Similarly, we can have formula for amplitude. This intensity ratio I maximum upon I minimum children will be root over I1 plus root over I2 whole square divided by root over I1 minus root over I2 whole square. This is one formula, but this formula can also be expressed in terms of amplitudes, like I maximum divided by I minimum is equal to A1 plus A2 whole square divided by A1 minus A2 whole square. So this will be some of the key formula that will be using for calculating, okay, for doing different sums based on intensity and amplitude. But we very clear, then phi remains the phase difference between the two waves which are undergoing interference. Clear? Now suppose they give you a problem that amplitudes are in ratio. Suppose the amplitudes are in the ratio of 5:2, and they ask you what will be the ratio of maximum and minimum intensity. Suppose they ask you if amplitudes are in the ratio of 5:2, what will be the ratio of maximum and minimum intensities? Then very easily you will be taking A1 is equal to 5A and A2 is equal to 2A, and then you can recall the formula. I equals to, we have A1 plus A2 whole square divided by A1 minus A2 whole square, and then you can insert these values. Many times the ratio of amplitudes is given and you are told to find out what is the ratio of the maximum and minimum intensities. Then you can use this formula. A1 is 5A plus 2A whole square divided by 5A minus 2A whole square, which is 7A whole square divided by 3A whole square, and if you solve, it is 49 over 9. Clear? So they can give you this type of problem. Now many times they will give you problems on intensities also, like they can say the two waves having intensity I and 4I undergoing interference, and they will not give you phase difference, they can give you path difference. They will say the let path difference is lambda by 4. Then what is the net intensity of the wave? Suppose they give you I1 is equal to I, I2 is equal to 4I, and path difference is given, x is given as lambda by 4, and they ask what will be the intensity of the net wave. So very easily I will calculate what? Phase difference. Phase difference is not given. Phase difference is what the formula, children? Phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into x. 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 4. So if you solve it, how much do you get? Pi by 2. And once you get phi is equal to pi by 2, then we can easily calculate the net intensity. Net intensity will be how much? I is equal to root over I1 plus I2 plus 2 root over I1 I2 cos phi. Yes? And then I will be equal to root over I plus 4I plus 2 root over I into 4I cos pi by 2. And children, how much is cos pi by 2? 0. So this part becomes how much here? 0. So net intensity will be, I'll better write I dash because I've already used the symbol I. So net intensity, or I can say like this, I net will be equal to root 5I. Clear? So this kind of sums will be given to you, and you should be able to very easily condense them once you are familiar with the application of the formula. Clear? Now once you understand this, go through this concept is important. Will you working on Young's double slit experiment, which is a very important one, important for exams and important for building your concept on interference as well. Okay? All right? Now, Young's double slit experiment, children. This experiment is a historical experiment. Actually, it was this experiment which proved conclusively that interference cannot be explained if light is taken as a particle, and this experiment drove the final nail in Newton's coffin of the particle theory of light. Clear? This experiment is significant because even today also it is used in quantum physics on a very large scale. So, we will be discussing what is Young's double slit experiment. So, first experimental evidence, a lab based evidence that in fact Huygens theory is right and light is a what? Wave, right? Let us start with this experiment. Here you have a source S. S is a monochromatic source of light. If I assume S to be monochromatic source of light or any source of light, then it will be emitting waves in all possible directions. Clear? Imagine I switch on this source of light, the light is travelling. In fact, light will be travelling in all possible directions, but I will reduce this to a two-dimensional problem along x axis and y axis. Clear? Here I will place two slits. One slit is here and the other slit is here. And obviously, you understand by now why I am placing slits, because these two slits S1 and S2 will act as what sources? Coherent sources. Clear? And I am going to assume, I will write it a little bit down here so that I can show the distance properly. I am going to assume that the distance between the two slits is d, small d. And as we discussed in the beginning, probably in the second video, how the waves are emanating from these two slits and then undergoing interference to produce alternately bright and dark fringes, right. So, for seeing fringes, I will place a screen. This is a screen, children, and like earlier, we will place an eyepiece, because this is a microscopic phenomenon, we cannot see with the naked eye. So, this is an eyepiece. Clear? The eyepiece will help us see what is happening on the screen. Now, take a spot which is placed symmetrically on the screen out here, and I will consider the distance between the slits and the screen is d. The distance is how much? Capital D. So, children, as the waves will be coming out of these two slits, they will be undergoing interference, and you are going to find out what? Dark and bright fringes on the screen. Now, what I am going to do is, I am taking a spot which is symmetrically located from the two slits, meaning it is located on the perpendicular bisector of S1 and S2, which is separated by a distance small d. Let us understand it. I join this to see what is happening actually. Suppose this point is, let us call it P. Let us call it P. So, what we will find is that if I use simple geometry, then I will find the length of S1P I will find that the length of S1P is equal to length of S2P, right, because this will be d by 2, this is d. So, length of this will be d square plus d square by 4, and length of d square plus d square by 4. So, we will find that S1P is equal to S2P. So, if path length is same, children, what will be path difference? X will be S2P minus S1P, it will be 0. So, that means at a point P on the screen, both the waves are going to meet with 0 path difference, and therefore, there will be 0 phase difference, and these are ideal conditions for what? Formation of a maximum. That means, we will conclude that a point which is symmetrically located on the screen will become a bright spot, because it is going to have a constructive interference. Clear? Now, for making this diagram less complicated, I will rub it, but you need to bear in mind that P will be a bright spot and also acts as a reference point like origin to us. We call it central maximum. Okay, so P is central maximum. So there is a scenario, S1P and S2P will be equal, so P is always a central maximum. We denote it by Cm. I will write it separately. Cm, Cm meaning central maximum, is like origin. So if this is a bright spot, then what will you see? You will find a dark spot here, and then you will find what? A bright spot, and then you will find what? Dark spot. So these spots will go on forming bright, dark, bright, dark. Central maximum here means bright spot. So again we will have a dark spot here, bright spot, dark spot. So this will continue to form on the screen. Clear? Now what I will do is, I am going to find out what will be the distance of a certain bright spot or a certain dark spot from the central maximum. Clear? So again, for not complicating the diagram, I am going to rub this so that we can clearly illustrate all these measurements on in the diagram. Clear? So remember, the centrally located point P is a central maximum or a bright spot. I am going to assume that there is a point P here on the screen where an interference fringe is being formed, and this fringe P will be either a bright spot or a dark spot depending upon the phase difference and path difference between the two waves. Clear? I am going to make an assumption. I will assume that the distance of this point P from the central maximum is y. I will rub all this so that I can clearly show this measurements. This is y and this is point P, and of course you have the eyepiece here. I will show it separately so that it does not come in the way of or marking the diagram. Clear? So two waves will travel, one from S1 and one from S2, and they will meet here at point P. One wave will go like this and the other wave will go like this, and they will be meeting at point P. Children, in the diagram these distances S1P and S2P appear to be very large, but actually in true practice this distance will be I will say this point Q, because P I have already taken. So I will take this point what? Q. So in fact S1Q and S2Q are so very small that they can be measured under microscopic scale. They are very small distances. Clear? So let us find out how much is the path difference between the two waves, or if you are comfortable, then we can mark this point as O, and you can mark this point as P. That is also good, because we are used to write S1P and S2P. Clear? So we will make certain assumptions. Let is obtained at distance y from central maximum. Children, so we have made some assumptions here. Let distance between the slits is equal to small d. Let distance between the slits and the screen is capital D. O is called central maximum, and P is a point at distance y from the central maximum. Central maximum will act as origin. This is why precisely I will be writing this as O. I will be measuring all the distances from point O. Clear? Distance of all the fringes will be measured from point O. So let an interference fringe is obtained at distance y from central maximum. Now I have used distance y, many books will be using x also, but that is immaterial. Actually I have taken that the screens are placed along x axis. Okay, we are moving along x axis and the fringes are forming along y axis. This is why I have taken y. You can take whatever symbol that suits you. Now children, I will be doing some geometry here. Join this, take this point as A and take this point as what? B. These angles are 90 degree, and this will be d by 2 from the symmetry of the diagram. This will also be how much here? D by 2. Now children, distance of a fringe on the screen from central maximum is y. So this is d by 2 and this is y. So how much will p be children? This distance? This will be y minus d by 2. And similarly, the distance AP will be y plus d by 2. So we know how much is AP, we also know how much is BP, right? So we'll be writing here AP is equal to y plus d by 2 and BP is equal to y minus d by 2. I'm sure you are understanding the figure, okay? Now, in triangle S2AP, I can see S2P square is equal to S2A square plus AP square, and S2A square is how much children? D square y plus d by 2 whole square. I got how much is S2P. So S2P square is d square plus y plus d by 2 whole square. Similarly children, in triangle S1AP, similarly I can say S1P square is equal to d square plus y minus d by 2 whole square. So children, I got the value of S2P square, I got the value of S1P square, right? Once I got this, then actually I am trying to calculate what is the value of S2P minus S1P. So what I am doing is, I will be doing use equation 1 minus equation 2. So we will be getting S2P square minus S1P square is equal to d square plus y plus d by 2 whole square minus d square plus y minus d by 2 whole square. Clear? Now I am going to split this by using a square minus b square formula. So let's simplify. So we can get S2P plus S1P into S2P minus S1P equals to, if you open the bracket, then d square will cancel out, okay, plus d square by 4 plus yd minus d square minus y square minus d square by 4 plus yd. So you can see that these terms are going to what? Cancel out, all these terms. So if I look at this, then finally what do I get? S2P plus S1P into S2P minus S1P equals to, children, I get yd plus yd is how much? 2yd. So from here I get S2P minus S1P is equal to 2yd by S2P plus S1P. Now children, I want you to remember very specifically this point, that in real practice, like I said, that S1P and S2P, they will have very little path difference between them, and I can make an assumption that S2P is nearly equal to S1P and both will be nearly equal to D. Now this is an important assumption that you need to bear in mind. Now with this assumption, if I go here, then I get S2P minus S1P is equal to 2yd divided by d plus d, and d plus d is equal to how much of children? 2d. So we get here S2P minus S1P is equal to 2yd by 2d, cancel out 2 and 2. So S2P minus S1P is equal to yd by capital D. And S2P minus S1P is what? That is path difference. So we got a priced expression. Therefore, path difference, this is basically x S2P minus S1P is equal to x is equal to, we have yd capital D. So this is an important expression that we have derived from here, that you need to bear in mind, that path difference between the two waves which are meeting at point P, in the limiting case x is y small d by capital D, where small d the distance between the what slits and capital D is the distance between the slits in the screen. Okay. So children, we found the distance of point P. See, point P can be like any maxima or any minima. Like I can say that P is fourth maxima, or I can say P is fourth minima, or I can say it is nth maxima, or it could be nth minima. It could be anything, but what it will be will depend upon path difference and phase difference. So here I will conclude what we derived till now. Distance of nth fringe from CM is not chief minister, it is what? Central maximum is yn is equal to Nyn subscript is equal to n lambda d by d. This is a very important result that we derived. Now there are two cases possible, children. Case 1 is it is nth maxima or it is nth minima. So case 1, if before you go to this, children, let us discuss what we derive. Directly we will not go at this result. We will say path difference between the two waves, and then we will discuss actually what we wrote. Waves is x is equal to y small d by d, right. This is the result that we obtained, and then we are going to say that P can be nth maxima or nth minima. So case 1, if P is nth maxima, now you must understand this, P is nth maxima. Nth maximum is what? Nth bright spot. See, this is our central maximum O. So you must understand like this, that this is first dark D1, first bright B1. This is taken as 0. Second dark D2, second bright B2. So these spots are similarly below. This is bright. So first dark D1, first bright B1. It will go on above as well as below, right. So using this, we are going to find out what will be the distance of nth maxima or nth minima from the central maximum. So central maximum once again is like what? Origin. So I will say if P is nth maximum, then you already know path difference is equal to how much of, children? N lambda. So that means I can equate n lambda with this. Therefore, y small d by capital D is equal to how much? Yd by capital D. So how much is equal to n lambda, is equal to n lambda. If you cross multiply, then y is equal to how much? N lambda d by small d. So we come across an important result, very important. Hence, distance of nth bright fringe or nth maxima, you write. Distance of nth maxima, but nth maxima from where? It is from central maximum. I let yn for bright. I let yn for bright is equal to n lambda d by d. Now this is a prized formula. This is probably question 4 that you got. Very important formula. The distance of nth maxima, yn bright. Y means along y axis distance, n means nth order, b means bright. Distance of nth bright spot will be n lambda d by d. Like suppose they ask you, what is distance of fifth bright spot or fifth maxima? Understand this, they will not say from central maximum, it is always from central maximum. If they want you to find what is distance of the fifth maxima, so you will just put n is equal to 5. So y5 for bright will be 5 lambda d by small d. Very easily you can calculate. All you need to do is to insert the values of lambda, capital D and small d. Clear? So this will be a very important formula that you must learn. Distance of nth maxima from central maximum is n lambda d by d. Now case 2 we will see. Case 2, we have if P is nth minima. Nth minima means nth dark fringe or dark spot. Like I can say, what is the distance of 7th minimum? So n will be 7, right? Minimum means a dark spot. So we know for nth minima, we know path difference is 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. We derived and discussed this earlier extensively, and we already know that path difference is y small d by capital D. So I will equate y small d by capital D is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. If you cross multiply and solve it, children, how much do you get? Y is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda capital D by 2d. So we come across another interesting and important formula, the distance of nth minima is yn for dark. I am writing dark. Okay, here I am writing bright for bright spot maximum and d for dark spot. Okay, is equal to 2n minus 1 into lambda d by 2d. Clear? So children, we calculated what will be distances of nth bright and nth dark minimum from central maximum. So for this, I have to put the value of n and also I have to put the value of lambda capital D and small d. Clear? Once you answer the distances of bright and dark spots from central maximum, we will proceed to find out what will be the fringe width or fringe spacing. Okay?